So today I'm going to be ranking every single eyeshadow palette that I tried in 2025 from the worst to the best. And I have something mildly disappointing to admit. I only have 13 palettes and it's already almost May. If you followed me 2 to 3 years ago, you would know I would have 13 palettes every single month to rank. But eyeshadow palettes just aren't as trendy as they once were. They are no longer the money makers to brands, and I tend to focus more on the mainstream market. And blushes is what it is. I could do a monthly blush rankings video. They're not coming out with palettes, is my point. So I only have 13 today to talk about, which the good thing to that is I've done a lot of looks. I've worn each of these palettes quite a lot. So I'm really coming at you here with full experience on these palettes. I still love eyeshadow palettes, even if they aren't the trendy product anymore. It really is such a fun way to play with color, to express yourself, to just sit down and take your time. I mean, I wouldn't say I love this look that I have on today, but this is part of the fun of makeup. But anyways, I can't believe I've only tried 13 palettes this year, but I'm ready to give you my rankings. We're gonna start off at number 13, the worst palette I've tried this year. And it was a big price point for what it is. This is from Dior. This is the eyeshadow palette in the shade Pink Mania. This came out with their spring collection. And this was a kind of a last-ditch effort here for Dior eyeshadows for me. So I love Dior products. I find them, generally speaking, to be very high quality. But in their like luxury line, the one that doesn't come to Sephora, they have I don't know how to express myself. There's like a more luxurious portion of their makeup line that doesn't launch at Sephora, that has limited edition drops and tends to be fancier in the embossments, that kind of stuff. But I have not had a lot of luck with their limited edition drops in terms of just the quality not living up to the price point. And I'm always intrigued by them because the embossments, that type of situation, are gorgeous. I mean, have you seen their new summer collection? So once again, this collection was appealing to me, the spring drop. So I picked up one and I was like, okay, this is it. If I don't like this, I have to stop buying from these collections. I don't like it. I spent way too much money on it. It's kind of an abomination. So I thought at least I could get at least get like Asian inspired makeup with this, more pastel-y colors, but all of these shimmers look the same. They're a little dry, they lack pigment. The mattes are okay, but it's hard to get a full look with this, and honestly, the shades don't really flatter each other. I've done a full look with this. You couldn't tell I had all 5 shades on my eyes. It looked like 2 shades on my eyes. So it's just unacceptable for the price point that I've paid. I can get a pretty icy kind of look with this, but I have to force myself to use it. You know what I mean? So this palette's just not worth it. Hopefully those summer collection palettes are better than this, but time again, over 7 years that I've been doing this, I've tried with these Dior launches because they're so beautiful, and more often than not, I'm disappointed by them. Number 12, this one's quite surprising. I think the opinions of this are mixed. I have heard from a lot of you guys that you've loved this, and my rule of thumb for this, if you really do love the color story and you think that the price point is worth it, it doesn't bother you, sure, it's worth picking these up. But this one disappointed me. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Beautifying Eye Trends in Digital Lilac. You can check out my full review if you want the backstory behind this, my opinions on the packaging. They did adjust the price point on these, and I do have to say it's probably because of the packaging a little bit, but this one just didn't do it for me. I can get pretty looks with it. It's not a bad palette. From this point on, we're not dealing with bad product here. This is just where it fell. Now, keep in mind with these rankings, I take into consideration the color story, the quality, how much I use it. There is a personal twist to it. If you're here for only the quality, listen to my reviews, don't pay attention to the rankings. If you have a similar preference to color stories and style of makeup like me, then maybe take into considerations the rankings. The quality of this is okay. It's not Charlotte Tilbury's best work. It's not her worst work either. The packaging, I kind of like being able to see the color story, but it's cheap. It's not giving luxury. So it's up to you whether or not you think it's worth it. I think it's a decent color story. I don't love it. As a longtime Charlotte Tilbury fan, somebody who's purchased products over and over and over again, there is a bias to this ranking. It's not her best work. I'm a little bit disappointed in it. It's ranking at number 12. Number 11 is the palette I'm wearing today. And yes, a huge reason why it's ranking in at number 11 is not because the quality is bad. It's just because it's very green, very bright, and I just haven't been as inclined to reach for it. But like I said, if you want good quality, you'll like this palette. If you want good glimmery, shimmery shades, you'll like this palette. So this is from one of my favorite indie eyeshadow brands, Glaminatrix Cosmetics. They launched a collection of a few of these. So this one is Exquisite Eyes, and it's very peacocky. We have this chartreuse color story here, which is kind of incredibly gorgeous. Definitely out of my comfort zone. But let me show you how I got this look. I started off with Ostentatious all over my eyelid with a looser kind of brush that I lightly packed it on, but I didn't pack it on too heavy. The pigment in this is quite incredible. It was easy to blend, and I didn't have like a light base underneath. So that's how you know the quality is good. And then I went in with the shade Lovely right here, which is a duochrome shade. And this is what I mean by if you love a glimmery, shimmery shade, I think you're gonna love this. I put it right on top of that chartreuse shade. And then I wanted to focus the depth really around the edges of my eyes. So I took a fluffier pencil brush and went into Magnificent. And I just lined my upper lash line with that and blended it out softly, especially leading into the Lovely shade. And then I took a more dense angled brush. I used Alluring, and I put that on my eye as an eyeliner. So I have the inner corner wing, the outer corner wing. And then on my lower lash line, I just blended some of Magnificent all along the lower lash line. And then with a little bit of a tighter brush, I used Alluring as well to get this dramatic makeup look. I didn't mention this or demo it, I guess. Exquisite right here, I am using as my inner corner highlight. The only thing I have to say about the quality is the shade is a little flaky and piecey, which each of these palettes that I'm mentioning in today's rankings, they have that. So I don't love that about this, but it's such an easy to use, lovely palette. If you like this color story, I think you'll enjoy it. It's just a little too out of my comfort zone for me. Number 10, also from this range, is Entrancing Eyes. I don't like how the packaging is really warm, but it's kind of like a purpley palette. Very beautiful. I've used Enticing a lot as an eyeliner. Same sentiments. Haven't reached for it a lot, and I think at the end of the day, the value is in how often I use it, how often I'm reaching for it. I just wasn't reaching for it that much. A couple of the shimmery shades are a little bit flakier, and this one I found a couple of the shimmers to read quite similar on the eyelid. Those are the negatives. I have much more positives to say about this. If you like this color story, definitely look into it. Glaminatrix has an amazing formula, but for whatever reason, I just wasn't reaching for it as much. Number 9, it's beautiful, it's simple, it's also very overpriced, but I would be lying if I didn't say that I have been enjoying it. So this is from Chantecaille. It's the Nymph Eye Trio. In particular, this shade at the end is such a luxurious, glimmery, shimmery lid topper here. It is creme de la creme quality of lid toppers. It's subtle, but it still has that pop effect on the eye. And you know what? Even these two shades are really beautiful. As I always say when it has to do with Chantecaille, wow, these are really, really expensive, but they do a good job with the quality. I'm not going to tell you that this is worth it. I did receive this in PR, and I would not have purchased it myself, but I have enjoyed using these thoroughly. This is the perfect one and done glowy spring eye look kind of palette. So if you like one and done shades, you want it to look glowy and brightening, I think you will enjoy this. And you can layer this glimmery shade as the lid topper over top of one of these two. You can't really get a full look with it unless you're going for that one and done look with a bronzer in the crease. It's beautiful, but I'm gonna leave that up to you to decide if it's worth it or not. Coming in at number 8, it's gonna surprise you how low it ranked, but I felt like the longer that I had it, the less I loved it, and proof was in the pudding when it came to time. So this is Natasha Denona Bloom palette, which Natasha Denona is still my favorite eyeshadow palette brand. They're the brand I recommend going to if you want that new palette for the year. I just didn't love this palette. When I initially looked at it, I thought it was extremely versatile. I felt like you have warm shades, pinkier shades, but I felt like the more looks I created, the more similar they became. And the quality of this is just a little drier than Natasha Denona's best formula. Now, it's still an amazing formula. It's just that Natasha Denona has in the past had creamier, more buttery formulas. And it's just a detail that I don't want to forget to mention to you guys, that no, this is not as good as the original 28 pan palettes, but it's still really good, very easy to use. I just feel like every look I've done with this has come out quite similar. There's too many tones that are similar, too many depths that are similar, that really limit the amount of looks that I can get with this. And to be frank, I haven't really liked the colors in here very much. So it's not a bad palette. It's one of those where if you like the color story, I think you would enjoy this, but I don't like the color story and I don't think it's very versatile. And this crisp shade is a hot mess. So I really think I was forcing myself to like it in the beginning, and I thought over time it would be a palette that I would end up using a lot, and it just didn't turn out that way. Number 7, what a beautiful color story. This launched more towards the beginning of the year, so it was definitely a perfect winter color story. This is from Nomad, and it's their Après Ski palette with this beautiful packaging and this beautiful, versatile, truly versatile color story. The palette quality is really lovely. The mattes are very easy to blend. The shimmers aren't flaky. They have pigment. Stunning, stunning palette. Now, it's not an everyday color story for myself, hence it not being used every single day, but I have loved every single look I've gotten with this palette. I don't have any bad notes about it. This is simply where it fell. I think the color story is extremely unique, and it's definitely worth looking into. I think Nomad is continuing to kill it with their launches, so I wanted to bring this to your attention. It's a beautiful, kind of cooler toned color story. Number 6, I will admit, I've had a trash talking moment with this palette, but I've been using it a lot because the tones are very much in my wheelhouse. It's another Charlotte Tilbury Beautifying Eye Trends palette, and it's a super neutral shade. And I did have a couple instances where some of these shades, especially the darker mattes, were harder to blend. Like I said, with this launch, it's not her best quality. It's just not. I can make these blend out. I have the skill set, I have the tools to do so. Maybe for a very beginner, you might not have that. So just keep that in mind. But overall, most of the times, I haven't had any problems with this palette. And if you want a depiction of my color story for every day, it's this. So just by default, I've reached for it a lot because it has colors that I really like. The shimmers are really beautiful on the eyelids. Again, do I think this palette is worth it? In terms of value, no. You can get better quality eyeshadows around this price point for sure, but I use it a lot. I've been enjoying it a lot. I would buy this on sale. Let me put it that way. Now, the next one that I have is kind of a similar color story, but it's a little bit more different. This is from Glaminatrix again. This is from that same collection as those previous 2 eyeshadows that I've mentioned. This is the Elegant Eyes, and a very similar color story to what we just saw in the Charlotte Tilbury palette, but better quality. I use Divine all the time for eyeliner. Really easy to use, simple mattes, and you have really scrumptious, glimmery, shimmery shades. Now, these are quite glittery, glimmery, twinkly looking on the eyelids as well, and it's just a great finger shadow to look like you've put so much more effort and glam time into your look while you really just kept it minimal. So I think you can see why I love this palette and why it's ranking pretty high. Honestly, I probably should rank it in front of this next palette, but this is where my biases are coming in play. I've had a lot of fun with the new Petamorphosis palette from Pat McGrath. It's not my favorite Pat McGrath palette, but it's been so long since we've gotten one that I've just had a lot of fun with it. It's an interesting mix of colors here, which I think has really played into the amount of looks that I've been able to get with this palette. I feel like it has great versatility. I've gotten all kinds of different looks with this palette. And sometimes I find this palette a little bit difficult to create looks with because I'm like, I don't know if all of these shades really go together, but it has pushed me outside of my comfort zone, and I've been able to come up with some color stories that I normally wouldn't have come up with for looks. The quality is good. It's not the original Pat McGrath formula, and it really makes me happy to see a lot of talk on this new formulation and what happened to the old formulation. There's a lot of rumors going around that rumor mill when it comes to this palette, but at the end of the day, I like this palette. I wouldn't recommend you to pay the full price. Pat McGrath always has sales. Maybe wait for this sale, but I've had a lot of fun with this. It's a unique palette. Now, these next ones, number 3 and 2, you can see why they're my favorite. They're like boring. They're neutral, but we have a Sydney Grace palette, which has amazing quality. They're also an indie brand. This is the Eastern Fall palette. So it was a little doodad of a launch from them. It launched a while ago. I randomly pulled it out one day, and it's been sitting in my new palettes drawer, and I reach for this all the time. The butteriest, most pigmented, easy to use shadows. This White Mountain shade is one of the prettiest champagne-y shades. This gives bridal to me. It has the most perfect basic browns for any look. Just a palette that I'm reaching for a look that I'm comfortable with. I do feel though as though this is missing a couple shimmery shades for the eyelids, because really the only shade I've been reaching for is that champagne shade. But when it comes down to the quality, I can rely on this, so I reached for this a lot. But what I've reached for the most, I guess second most, or maybe the most out of all of these palettes, is coming in ranked at number 2. I've used it so much that I feel like I've had this in my collection for years. It's this guy from Natasha Denona. And everybody, when this first launched, was like, oh, we don't need it. I myself was like, oh, I don't need it, but it's good to have in her line. I've been reaching for it all the time. It's the Mini Sculpt palette from Natasha Denona. First of all, this is phenomenal to travel with. I just went to Jamaica for a wedding, and this is what I brought for my neutral shades. I didn't have to worry about anything else. Phenomenal quality. Just my right-hand man, my go-to whenever I need a sculpting shade for the eye. I reach for this. So I'm loving this. I love the size of the packaging. I love how portable it is. It's pretty robust. It's not really gonna shatter. I dropped it on the hard floor. Nothing happened, though I don't recommend giving that a try. It was an accident, but you know, I just wanted to brighten my brows. Sometimes I just want a brown eyeliner. Sometimes I want a black eyeliner. Sometimes I just want a crease shade for whatever shimmer I'm putting on. It's very utilitarian. So that's why it's number 2. I'm using it all the time. And number 1, okay, so biased, but in my opinion, one of the greatest palettes launched in 2025, my Love Language palette with Odin's Eye, which I've done plenty of coverage on, and I'm placing this at number 1 because I'm biased. How could I not? I almost didn't even put it in this video because you guys would know, but yeah, my Love Language palette that I did in collaboration with Odin's Eye, my most used palette of the year. You know, I have neutral looks, pink looks, purple looks. I just brought this and the Natasha Denona palette with me for the wedding. I got all types of beautiful looks here. I don't want to talk about this too much because you already know, but it is the perfect spring palette. If you're interested, it just restocked. It's the last restock, so whatever stock is left, it's not going to come back. If you do want to get your hands on this, it's the best spring palette, my favorite spring palette that I have in front of me by far, but it will transcend spring. I've added all types of fun shades for winter. This is that all year round perfect cool toned shades. I reach for this palette all the time. And that little neutral corner, oh, I'm always reaching for some of those shades all the time. So anyways, those are my rankings from worst to best of all of the eyeshadow palettes that I've tried this year. Remember, the rankings are not as important. I really just wanted to get the reviews out for you, and these are just kind of where they fell in terms of how much I personally like them and I personally use them. But regardless, if you are on the market for a new eyeshadow palette, I hope that this video helped you out in determining the best option for you. Let me know down below, what eyeshadow palette have you been reaching for the most this year, if any? Since eyeshadows are out, I see a lot of people just using bronzer and that's it. That's just criminal. But anyways, make sure if you like this video that you literally physically like it with a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.